towards elongating your own life. There's a sort of self-eating logic to transhumanism as a byproduct of the pursuit of like truly objective, rational, thinking that eventually will cut yourself out. And you see this in certain kinds of liberal thinkers. I think earlier this week, Piers Morgan was catching some heat for being interviewed somewhere, and he said something like, there's plenty of white Englishmen I would happily trade for a few like exotic foreign meals or whatever. And it's like, okay, that's very punchy, that's very catchy, very glib. I'm sure a lot of your fellow Englishmen would happily trade you now for a few,
for sure,
tiki masala meals or whatever.
So he's interested in human trafficking.
Well, you got to get your tiki masala somehow. But that logic eventually does come for you too. What stands like a dam between you and the logic of the dragon, the nihilistic destruction, is pre-rational preferences. One of my favorite, it's not a philosophical movie exactly, although it has a lot of little philosophical bits kind of thrown in. It might be relevant here actually, is the English comedy The World's End, where Simon Pegg and Nick something, they're trying to reproduce the glory days of college, and they're trying to hit all these bars, and they've discovered that they're undergoing in the moment an alien robot invasion that is surreptitiously taking over people's bodies and trying to turn everyone into this Borg-like thing. But that they don't let that stop them. They carry on with their bar hopping adventure, trying to get to this last bar through this alien invasion. And finally they get to the end. Plot spoilers for anybody who's listening to this, and like the alien overmind who's taken over all these people, and they're mentioning, did you know robot means slave like 4 times? But the overlord is basically trying to persuade them that like, no, this is better. You humans can't manage yourselves. You're doing stupid things. You're not reasoning through properly. And Simon Pegg's just like, I can't hear you, blah, 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 blah. He's just doing the Polemarchus thing. We're not listening to you. We refuse to be persuaded. We're humans, and we don't want to be told what to do. And the alien overmind thing from above just says, fine, fuck it. And then it just leaves. And that's like the end of the movie. It just gives up on trying to persuade people. But it is like, that is where this rationality logic takes you, and it's humorously depicted, but there's something very Heideggerian about the desire for this perfect bureaucracy does turn people into robots by degree.
Yeah. You mentioned Borg. You said Borg, which leads to I think Star Trek handles the issue really interestingly with the Borg, like as far as like the extremes of where that, the sort of fusing of, humans becoming robots. I think better with the Voyager series even than with Next Generation, because it goes really deep into it. But also the Battlestar Galactica reboot from the 2000s is just amazing in the way it handles these ideas.
Right.
I also like the way Star Trek all throughout, even in the silly original series, insisted on human nature still being dominant, regardless of technology. That's why you have all those, every episode of the original series has to have a booby girl. Basically, because there's all this,
is what it is.
Yeah, there's all this technology, you're in space, but Kirk and a lady, things are going to happen.
Kirk and a lady, things are going to happen.
News Store, have you watched the Battlestar Galactica reboot?
I have not.
it's so heavy in dealing with like human nature, religion, transhumanism, robot people. It's kind of mind blowing.
Well, I guess I have to. It sort of goes back to our original stuff. I'm in danger of falling behind the culture, not catching it. This is something my wife makes fun of me about. She's like, I'm
Man, that was like
digging
15 years
through.
ago, bro.
Well,
that show's old. I remember watching it years ago.
This is the pattern for me, though. I discovered, I like really oh, this band is it. Alice in Chains, about a year and a half. I mean, like I knew of them before, but like about 14 months ago, I was like, oh, Jar of Flies and like a few other things. And I started like sharing their stuff, and my friends were like, dude, where were you 20 years ago? That's how I was with Tool. It's how I am with these movies and stuff. I finally saw, was actually paid to review, what's the Alfred Hitchcock movie? Vertigo. Phenomenal movie. One of the best movies I've ever seen. About 80 years late, but it's still very, very worthwhile.
I mean, to be fair, you weren't alive when it was made.
I wasn't here, so
I mean, and neither I don't think any of us were.
And let alone Beowulf or The Republic or Homer or whatever. And you can do both. I have been made fun of a little bit by a few people for being like behind the times on whatever's like current in the culture. And there's something to be said for that. There is something to be said for keeping up with what's going on, not just politically, but culturally. What is the new music that everyone's listening to? What are the like sports things people are interested in? Oh, someone came up with a new way of doing this thing. What's that all about? It's a way to stay connected with people, I think.
Well, it's the collective consciousness that you're tapped into. If you were, that's how you get the Mugatu. That's how you get, like, you have to be like, that's the only way that you know what's so hot right now. It's like if you have, in some way, if you're getting this information and you can kind of feel it out there, and you're like, and no, this is tired. And that's, I mean, I've lost that a little bit, definitely, but like, I mean, obviously you can see it with what people are doing with social media now. I'm just like, what are they even doing? What am I supposed to do? I don't even know anymore. This is dumb. I'm definitely old with social media. And like, what are these stupid kids doing? But I was like, what do people want? What's the vibe? Like, what's happening right now? And that's how that is, in a Jungian sense, that is what the collective consciousness is. That's like what are the songs what songs are people singing? I mean, and we don't have the same thing. The tricky thing about that, though, is that the collective consciousness is very fractured right now compared to the way that it was maybe 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, so one of the more interesting questions, not to sound like an obsessive fanboy, but someone was asking online yesterday, do you think we're going to experience some kind of grunge counter movement against the perfection that AI will make possible? And I'm not even talking about AI music per se, but the degrees of perfection in production that AI allows for. Are we going to start seeing people writing books handwritten? You could scan a handwritten page as a PDF and like, oh, now you're connecting with like someone's hand in a way that's not typed. Mm-hmm. That's maybe not sellable, but like the idea of increasing that grungy, organic, messy human touch, and selling that instead of
happening.
Like
for sure. Those videos that I hate making because I think they're tacky and trashy. But those videos that I hate making, that's that. And they don't want, because the super high production shit with the great lighting and like the Bedros Keuilian like with it, and it all looks fantastic, and it's all his production teams and whatever doing it. Mm-hmm. They got tired of seeing that, and they want to see some guy, like big guy who's in prison now, but like a big guy walking around in his the outside of his house.
Makes him real.
saying like, you're like, oh, another thing, blah blah blah, and another thing, blah blah blah, blah, and another blah 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 blah. Just someone just talking shit into their phone is real, and that is grunge. It's not grunge in like that dirty like flies and like a fake
Flies.
wear and tear that we had in the '90s, but like it's grunge in the sense that it's uncurated and unedited. And but the thing is, there's still room for both because that's I don't like stuff like that. I mean, I actually like the grunge aesthetic a little bit. Like, I mean, yeah, like I was basically created. I'm a product of Fight Club, but like beyond that, I mean, so I like that vibe to a certain extent, but just not beyond that. I like some production on things. I like things to look nice. And I think that that's one way this society is going as well. But you do have a lot of people who are. The thing is, and it happens with writing as well, is that typos have a new currency. Because all these people who are having all their AI slop, like running it, like, and you can tell, like that's too perfect. Like me making a grammatical mistake is actually probably better now than it was 10 years ago, because people are like, oh, that feels real. You know, like that's actually Jack talking. That's not like he didn't run that through Grammarly like 17 times until it became like just boilerplate.
Yeah.
You know? So we are seeing that, I think, in culture right now, is this rebellion against the perfection. It's just like as an idealist, as a solar idealist, I do want things to be as good as they possibly can be. So it's a tricky thing. Yeah.
Well, there's a tension there, I think, and I think the feeling that many people are having is that you don't get the development of individual excellences without taking the training wheels off. And I think what we want to see are the individual excellences, not someone who can ride perfectly with training wheels. Because at a certain point, the best way to ride with training wheels is to take the human off, put a robot on that can ride perfectly. And then you have perfect riding, but you've lost the purpose, which was the excellence of a human being and the opportunity to experience that connection with other people. And maybe this goes back to the whole question about artificial wombs and transhumanism, because part of what makes contact with not just ourselves, but with other people rich in depth is these are other people that are painting on a limited canvas. They don't have infinite space. They don't have infinite time. What are they doing? How are they using that space? And when you take away that finitude, you take away the urgency and the richness of that contact. It's life with training wheels, and you lose, again, the excellence in the moment and the vital intensity of the experience of life in the moment, I think. And the pain that comes and this is not just like, oh, go be a masochist, go be David Goggins, but there's certain pain that comes with certain choices. It will take something out of you if you decide to be a competitive bodybuilder. It will take something out of you if you decide to go pursue a PhD in something. It will cost you something if you go through special forces training and wreck your knees and your back just to get through selection. These things take things out of you. It gives you scars. It gives you suffering that changes you. But that's what people want. And the idea of, and it's what other people want out of you, because there's something beautiful in that. And I think there's something. I was just going to say there's something profoundly unbeautiful about the ideal of frictionlessness that is behind not just transhumanism, but maybe like liberalism and scientism more broadly.
It's like that fantastic statue that I took a picture of when I was in Rome. The statue of the boxer. Here's a statue from thousands of years ago that had the cauliflower ear and all the scars and whatever, and that was immortalized in bronze because that was also part of the idealism. And I think that that process of getting that. Now, that's not like to say that we all should be as ugly as possible by being all fucked up, but like that is part of the thing. I had this conversation with my parents this morning because obviously, like, I'm probably going to be able to like maybe do some jiu-jitsu drills this week after having had staff, and I could not walk for like a couple weeks, and like I was limping, and then I just as of yesterday I can sit on my heels, and so it's been this big thing, and I talked to my parents about it, and I was like, because they, of course, they are in the mindset of the like nothing bad should ever happen to you, and you should be protected from everything. And I was like, God, that's how you create faggots. But like that, like you should be nothing bad should happen. And I'm like, well, the fact that I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 9 years and I haven't had surgery yet is actually pretty amazing. And you're going. I was also telling him about how I was jealous of all the other photographers about how they have motorcycles and how that makes every photograph look awesome. And all you have to do is have a motorcycle. Now, but I don't have a motorcycle. Why? Because if you get a motorcycle, you will go to the hospital. It is just a matter of time. Like that said, it's part of the thing. And I just don't want to go to the hospital for that. But I've accepted that at some point, I will go to the hospital for jiu-jitsu. Like that's going to happen. And there's no way you can go the whole way and not have a surgery at some point. Everybody has shoulder surgery or knee surgery or something like that at some point. But you don't get to have the credibility of having those skills or doing that thing without those years of wear and tear that create that situation. And it's. I would like to avoid as much of that as possible, but you just have to find your middle ground. But that you get into that like, well, then no one will remember your name, kind of like a thing of like how much glory do you seek as you're doing it?
And it doesn't. I think binary thinking is like you have to either be completely frictionless or go in as ugly as possible is a way that people avoid the tricky, messy difficulty of actually sorting out what they want to do by making a false choice. Because the beauty is in the tension. The beauty is in the trade-offs we have to, and that's where the judgment is. It's never an all or nothing question. It's a what is worth it to me. And it was actually one of my favorite sections of Holy Nihilism was talking about beauty existing in tension. Whether it's the ballet dancer that looks like they're about to fall over, but they can just miraculously save themselves in a way that looks completely effortless, or the tension of jiu-jitsu, or the tension of a freaking rock climber, like free climbing El Capitan, or something crazy like that.
I'm too far on that. I'm like, too far. You're retarded.
Yeah, it's too far. It's too far for us.
Yeah.
But the without some risk, there is no beauty. And that tension doesn't have to be risk of doing something dangerous. It can be just a temporariness. The sunshine, the sunrise is beautiful because it's only there for a moment, but there will be more. But there's something in a woman's beauty, I think, that is because it is bound in the youth and it's not going to be there forever. And in the same way, a man's aristeia, his moment of greatness, like that is his moment of highest beauty. And like a part of the attraction of heroism is when you die in your aristeia, you're immortalized at your highest point. And there's
like
something
cherry blossom.
Mishima would appreciate that. Yes. Yes. And it's there's something beautiful in the tragedy there. Now there is, good reason to say maybe we don't go that far, right? Maybe we get close to that, but don't quite touch that level of extremity, and hit that point of no return.
But that can serve as an ideal.
Exactly. It's an ideal that you move towards but you want to be Daedalus. You don't want to be Icarus.
Well, it's that, you know, this comes back to that we had this discussion offline. Well, not, I mean, off live. You and I were having this discussion today. We keep talking about Plato and Aristotle, and you know, obviously, what you're talking about is, for most of us, we're probably looking for that golden mean. This is a good compromise in between these two positions, and that's probably where you should be for most things. You know, obviously, the greatness that, you know, and not everybody cares about being, you know, I had this discussion actually with fucking Josh Tyler, did this little thing about legacy, and we had this back and forth about legacy, and they're like, well, you know, I've always cared about legacy, and like, well, how would I be remembered? When I think about how we do the Order of Fire, I think about how will it be remembered? Like, how will people receive it? You know, like, it needs to be documented in certain ways. This is how movements become history, and I think about that. But he made this point about legacy, and that's putting the cart before the horse. And I told him, you know, like a few years ago, I realized, being so concerned with legacy, you know, I realized that I am working very hard to impress people I will never meet. You know, there is something about that is like, okay, wait, maybe you're like going too far in that direction and caring about that too much. So yeah, there's the people who do go down the history books. You know, like we've had this discussion of like, oh, I would probably be better at certain things if my parents had beat me more. You know, like the people who go down into the big, go down in history also have a lot of demons that drive them, and they're going so far in one direction because they're running from something. There's a lot of things that are typical, and I don't want to say that those are bad, because that's how shit gets done, much like slavery. But like, sometimes bad things are necessary.
Just throwing that out there, yeah.
Just throwing that out there. You know, so sometimes if you want to make an omelet, you gotta break a few eggs. But that's how you get things done. You know, and that's how great things happen. Is that this person is like tormented and pushed in that direction. And for those of us who parents didn't beat us enough or whatever, we are going to be looking for more of that golden mean and finding where's the balance between these two things. And like, and maybe, I guess to wrap it up, because we should wrap it up. I mean, there's a balance between those two far points of return and pretend that everything natural is good and, you know, whatever, drink your own pee. And then, whatever, sun your balls, drink your pee, whatever. And then the other side is that humanity is disgusting and we should leave it all behind, and that like we should become beyond that. And again, there's this, what we're looking for, I think, in solar idealism and what we talk about in our philosophy generally, is we are kind of looking for a golden mean in between those things. Like, technology isn't bad. Technology is arrows. You know, like technology is something that we use all the time, no matter what. And it's good to a certain extent, and we should take advantage of it. But there are
technology.
Boundaries. Yeah, all of this is technology. But you know, like there are boundaries to how much and how fast, and also that where do we lose being human, and what are the good things about being human that also get lost with those things. It's like all these things have unintended consequences. You know, like the internet is going to put people in touch. It's going to create a lot of porn. You know, like there's all these other things that come with these. You have these technological like optimists that think everything's going to be great, and there's always bad things that come with it that they pretend that they don't see.
Right, which goes back to living forever. I think one thing that I think becomes clear when you think about like Aristotle's virtues or his excellences, these golden means between these things, because I've been spending a lot of time thinking about this virtue of magnificence in particular, which is like not something people are used to thinking of as a virtue. I did a whole reel on it actually, because it bothers me the way that people kind of bash on bodybuilders and powerlifters who enjoy sharing what they've done, and it's like an invitation to be the opposite of the virtue is magnanimous, which means like greatness of soul is
magnitudo anime is in Latin,
right.
Cicero talks about, because he took
Mike,
those guys.
Microsia, I forget the exact Greek word, but it gets translated as pusillanimous, which means like being smallness of soul. A pussy, yeah, is exactly what has been shortened. It is, yes. Yeah. And so like the excess that he talks about is speaking highly of yourself in a way that is not true. So the mean should be thinking positively and grandly about yourself, but only things that are true. And there's a tension there. Less so there than I think in a few other cases. One of the other ones is one of the other virtues is magnificence, which is a willingness to spend money on high quality things, which is another one that people don't often think of as virtues, but which Aristotle lists. And the more you think about it, you're like, yeah, that's actually how you improve both society and your life. With high quality things instead of lots of.
They always liberality is another way that they phrase it.
Yes, and it's like what these means are not comfortable, easy, sort of easy rolling, soft places. There is tension in this mean, especially with courage, which is his like first virtue. It's like you don't want to be foolhardy, but you can't be a coward either. And like having the discernment to know, no, this is a battle you don't want to fight. Is that courage, or is that wisdom, or is that cowardice, or is that wisdom? Oh no, this is where we take our stand. Is that foolhardy, or is that courage? There's tension in these things, and there is beauty in living in that tension. And you can't be under tension all the time. That's just stress, but you have to have a certain amount of tolerance for it. And I wonder how much of the desire for transhumanism and liberalism is a desire to escape the stress of judgment that is required in life under tension.
Well, it's outsourcing judgment to spreadsheets.
Yes.
I mean, basically that's what the
language
whole thing is. It's like, let's outsource our judgment to bureaucracy. And like we'll put the right people in charge, and they'll make the decisions according to the rules. Right. And that's what we'll do. And so we'll outsource that tension. And I'm sure he probably didn't make it up, but it's like been sticking with me ever since Widarius in the Order. He commented one day that balance is a verb. And that stuck with me. Like I said, he probably didn't make it up, but that was the moment that I was like, that is a keeper. I have to say that as often as possible, because it is. Because everybody wants to achieve balance as if it's like a stasis.
Yes.
And it's a constant rebalancing. And you can see that if you just try to balance on something, it's a constant rebalancing thing. And that's what you're doing. And that's what the humanness of this is.
Yes.
Is to do that constantly rebalancing. That's what life is to constantly be finding that, because there is no stasis.
Yes.
And you have to keep finding that. But anyway, we should probably wrap that up. That sounds a lovely way. Somehow we made it to the end of that. That was, like, it's good when you can wrap things up in a bow in some way that makes sense, some kind of sense. But anyway, thanks guys. You were correct, by the way. I mocked you and I was wrong. We were not live when I said we were live, but I did click the button sometime after that when I realized what was happening, because it was giving me the preview, and so I could see us, and I can see us. What are you talking about? We really went live about a half an hour ago, but it plays the whole show. It got the whole thing. It's just it was a little late for people, which is probably why we didn't have any comments or anything like that. But anyway. Thank you guys for joining me. This is a good discussion. I think people will listen to it probably on Spotify later and whatever. And I think, like I said, I might even get around to an essay on this, because it still grinds my gears. But then that's the good shit. That's the easy stuff to write, not like the things I'm avoiding. But anyway, good discussion. And obviously, I was have to put on. This is the Order of Fire. We're the first men. There are many of us. We've been building this culture. We're in our 4th year, which I just realized the other day. You know, like we're in our 4th year. We're going to have our 4th fire in Arizona this year in March, and we're looking to think about things in a different way. I took some just to talk about the order for a second here. I had a lot of the guys give me some feedback about where they wanted to go, how they thought about the order, and we see ourselves just a lot more as a creative engine and a lot more as a religious group that I even thought that they did. You know, like I was trying to always grind the line between self-improvement group and whatever, and the guys were just like, nope. That was I fed all their input through AI and like came out with their end, and it was just like, yeah, stop doing that. No one cares. This is a group. This is a new culture. This is a religion. That's what everybody's excited about. Who's in it and has been in it for the whole time. And the people who stick around with it, like we're going to push hard in that direction. That's why I wanted to promote some of the guys who are actually making stuff at the beginning of the show, and I think we want to focus more in that direction and less in the self-improvement direction. Obviously, we still do that. We still have patches and challenges and all that kind of thing. And we're going to do more of that. But over the next year or two, my plan is I think we're going to look towards making a coffee table book. Something that really showcases the thing that we did. And like I said, I care about documentation and legacy. And I think that really showcasing something with photography that's beautiful, and like here are posters from all the events and all the things that we've done over these years. I mean, I'd have to sit and count how many fire rituals we've done because I don't even know it now. And that's a good feeling. Like it's more than 10. It's a good bit more than 10. Like 15, 20. I don't know. But so we've really been doing this thing for a while now, and my thing was always personally, if you can get it to run for 5 years, it's real. Like that's the kind of like, okay, this is significant now. Like this has been around for 5 years, and so we're coming up on that. And I think for year 4 and 5, we're going to like focus on what I always wanted to do was just create more beautiful imagery, more like show people these ideas, and that we're having these experiences and doing these things, and that we're doing something different and interesting. And so, with that in mind, like I said, I'm getting our calendar together for this year. I'm going to plan all the events out right away. I think we're going to do in March. We're going to do our normal thing out here in Arizona. Probably going to do something in Atlanta in probably June, and then we're looking at maybe going out to the Salt Flats sometime in October. And I'm going to highly pressure Mr. New Store to come to that because it's going to be we're going to make it a TSG thing, and there's going to be guns. So we're going to have Mr. Gontor is ready to go. I'm making that a training thing. That and also ritual in the Salt Flats. We're doing that shit. And we want to do things that are beautiful. Do something. I want to do things that are beautiful, that people that are memorable and something makes them art. So that's the idea. We're going to do that. So that's my pitch always for people who are watching this. If you want to be part of this thing and help this happen, and make something interesting happen, if you think the world is ugly and stupid, then nut up and do something about it. We're doing a thing here. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for joining me. And until next time, stay solar.
Stay solar.
Thank you for watching or listening to the Journal of Solar Culture. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and leave us a comment. The first volume of our journal is available in paperback and now, finally, on Kindle. Pick it up in our store or on Amazon.